Or Reloaded. Glad to have all of you guys here. So this is going to be a pretty fun stream. Don't know how long we're going to go. It's going to go as long as you guys want it to. The newest short trek has made its way out, and it is so memorable that I forgot what the name of it is. It is Children of Mars, a Star Trek short trek. That is fantastic, is what that is. All right, it does confirm a couple of things. There will be spoilers here. So if you're watching this and you don't want spoilers, then this is probably the wrong spot for you. What is going on, Dan23, Deckfish, having a lot of fun out there. So just to give a brief kind of breakdown, or at least my review of Children of Mars, it's bad. It's basically a musical. Someone called it an elongated trailer. That's exactly what it is. They literally... it is very rare that you see writing that uses the tropes and the storytelling techniques to get someone emotionally attached without really going through what it takes for that emotion and that attachment. I think that is a very special writer that can do that. By the way, if you're watching this and you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button. Why is there not? So let's go through it. We'll do a little bit of a breakdown, but I'm not going too far. You can watch it at CBS All Access if you are in the United States. I don't know if you can see it outside the United States. I can only tell you where I can see it. Good sir. How do you watch the Picard short trek in the United Kingdom? You wait, unfortunately. Or you break the law, which I don't ever really suggest that you break the law. But those would be the ways that you actually watch it. You're not missing anything, though. There are going to be spoilers, so if you're watching this and you don't want to see spoilers, this is probably not the time for you. Let me say that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started up real quick, and then we will just break it down. I'll give a short synopsis of what you guys are seeing, but honestly, it's simply not worth it. It's nothing incredibly good. I don't know any other way to say it. I mean, if you like it, a lot of people get upset about that. A lot of people take this the wrong way. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're gatekeeping." Look, if you like it, that's fantastic. If you can get something from it, then I'm more than happy for you. But me, I don't get anything from it. All right, so I'm going to give a brief breakdown of a couple of pieces going through the actual CBS Girls from Mars, or whatever the hell it is, and then get to two critical screenshots that barely go by. They are less than a second, but they tell us everything we really need to know when it comes to this specific short track, as well as what's going to be happening in Picard. It does bring up a couple of theories. There is some crafting that we can do. I would love your guys' opinion on it, honestly. I know the actual show will be on Amazon in the UK. Okay, but then that's where you should go. So the first thing is again, it gives all of the beats for a story, all of the tropes to get people involved, but never really goes down on them. So you have the daughter. She's talking to her mom or dad. I don't know who the hell that is, honestly. Where is it? There we go. Whoop. That's a good picture. There you go. Her mom or dad. So now you know that she has a mom or dad that is at the Mars Olympus station. That's fantastic. Oh, and look at this. So this is the 25th century. It is confirmed that this is the 25th century. And we have a McGee, however the hell you say it, class ship. And then basically, I guess, the bastardization of the Ares class right behind it. Again, 25th century. Maybe late 24th. Maybe. I'm guessing 25th century. And right now, they're working on early 23rd century ships. It's fantastic. Let me tell you. I'm glad to know that they don't really do anything new. That's fantastic to me. Then you have this girl right here who has a dad who can't see her. So you have the first girl whose mom or dad loves her. Then you have another girl, human dad, who can't make it because he's a jerk, because all dads are jerks. because CBS has wonderful writing, just majestic writing. Interestingly enough, it appears that Starfleet headquarters also is where, I guess, children go, using the same shooting location. I don't know if that's the same shooting location, but it looks like it to me. Anyway, I really like this short track, if you can tell. I think it's probably one of the best pieces of literature that has like ever existed. Girl misses it. She's having a bad day. They're in class. Where is it? They don't know each other. When do they get in class? They're in class right here. They're in class. This girl right here, her, she does a picture of the teacher that is less than flattering, sends it to this chick. The teacher catches it and then shows it in front of the class, because let me tell you, in the late 24th, early 25th century, they're very progressive, where they still humiliate children. So that's fantastic. These two start fighting each other, and we see, you know, where she, the alien girl, trips the human girl. Then they get into a fight. After the fight, they're pulled apart and they're about to get in trouble. All of this is to music, by the way. Dialogue is very minimal. I mean, it's just fantastic. This is literally what happens when you let a storyteller first take cocaine. And so they're in trouble. And then we have, here it comes again, spoilers in 4, 3, 2, 1. Mars is under attack. And let me see if I can catch it. Here, I'm going to turn this off so I don't get hit by CBS. Hold on. There it is. Attack on Mars by the Federation News Network. Apparently there's zero estimated deaths. That probably says 1,000 or something there. Rogue synths attack Mars. Oh, there it is. 3,000 estimated dead. Interesting thing right here. Look at this in the bottom right. You can see the United Federation of Planets. You see the updated thing that we see in Star Trek Discovery. So, Katwalski, good sir, they actually did not break up, or have not break up at this point. But yeah, apparently rogue synths are attacking and destroying Mars. The next scene we get is the scenes we see where the Federation ships are attacking. So, for all intents and purposes, the Federation has specifically, Star Trek has specifically gone rogue. Has gone Warhammer 40k. I was reading something. They have gone Warhammer 40k. Mars is under attack by synthetics. Synthetics are probably another word for androids. By the way, 61 people watching, only 41 likes. Hit that like button, people. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Yeah, I would say synths are 25% different. There is no stupid requirement. I just think they like being different. Here's the thing. I don't like this short track. It is horribly put together, in my opinion. It's not good. It's not at any point good, in my opinion. A rogue synth attack could actually be interesting, especially if these were based off data and you just had a ton of datas that were destroying Mars. I still think that this is a Romulan attack, because again, in Star Trek Picard, we see that the Romulans have the ability to override the technology of the Federation. They take over one of the advanced starships, the USS Verity. And so I really could see them sending a code that causes all or some of the datas, or the synths, whatever, to go crazy and begin attacking Mars. So again, it's Warhammer 40k. That's what it is. But I do think that it's a Romulan plot. I still stand behind that. Joseph Patrick helping out the channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, guys. For those who don't know, beginning of the year is really, really tough. The advertising money just goes, it almost completely evaporates. So I do more rely on Patreon memberships and Super Chats. Thank you so much. Also, guys, if you give money, you can specifically donate it, or not donate it, but you can fund your own special project. So if there's something you'd like me to fund, Yosef, so that I have it on the channel a lot faster, definitely let me know. I will put it in there. But what you said was, if you shaved, would you be 25% different? I would be 5-10% different. You definitely see a difference in me. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be different. I'm saying that it wouldn't be 25%, but it would be close. So anyway, yeah, that's a thing. Am I showing it to you? I am showing it to you. Good. Yeah, that's unfortunate is what that is. Synthetics is an artificially created life form. Yes, it is. Do synths dream of electric sheep? They do, in fact. It is Fallout over again. Turn off the ethical subroutines equal killing machines. Yeah, that happened with the holograms, didn't it? Will we see Star Trek go full Star Wars with Baby Data and Baby Groot? No. No, we won't. Romulans are framed by those sneaky, devious Vulcans. I think Rami would agree with you. I don't know. I really would be interested in your guys' opinion on this and what you think about it. For the most part, it is Warhammer 40k. I don't hate it necessarily. I don't like this short trek, but I don't hate this concept. It really all comes down to what they decide to do with it, where they decide to go with it. I think that it could be told very well, even if it has aspects of Warhammer 40k. Destroy the men of iron, indeed. There was not any mention of synths or synths attack in any Trek series. Another not important Kurtzman. Who knows what? Another not important Kurtzman. You know, here's the problem with people continuing to blame Kurtzman. I'm going to be honest with you. I was seeing this on Twitter, and I was kind of getting into it with people who are on Twitter, too. This isn't all Kurtzman. This is something Sir Patrick Stewart wants. Kurtzman may be playing his role in it. Kurtzman may be helping lead the charge, but it's not all Kurtzman. In fact, Patrick Stewart has a heavy, heavy influence on all of this. He wants to make it anti-Brexit. He wants to make it anti-Trump. And so you can yell Kurtzman to the end of the world. And I'm not necessarily getting on whoever stated that. I'm just saying overall, this is just meta, general talking. A lot of this is Patrick Stewart. A lot of this is Sir Patrick Stewart. Bird of Prey helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Measure of a Man wasn't on the Picard watch list. Yeah, obviously not. To be fair, though, Measure of a Man didn't have a lot of impact on holograms either. So the fact that Starfleet would do this actually isn't something that surprises me. Honestly, again, a lot of people are going to get bent out of shape about this. I think you could do this, and I think you could do it well. I think you could write it appropriately. You would have to have Starfleet take a downward spiral, but I could see Starfleet, when becoming militarized, seeing all of the death that was done, all of the destruction that was done during the Dominion War, and deciding to make androids. And saying, you know what? We know there was Measure of a Man. That was inconclusive. So let's go ahead and just make androids. We'll just make them 25% less like Data. There you go. Commander Maddox's fault, probably built them and ran amok. That is possible. Children of Mars is like mini YouTube. Oh, yeah, you said this on Twitter, Rock Solid. Children of Mars is like mini YouTubers, stretches out 90 seconds of story to 6.5 minutes, trying to maximize view time and get that sweet, sweet ad revenue. But these are just my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, we already... You said that on Twitter. I actually agreed with it. I'll be honest with you. Children of Mars is a perfect example of abstract filmmaking that emphasizes making something beautiful versus telling a good story. Yeah, I'd agree with that too. There isn't any storytelling. So we talked about this before, and I don't want to repeat myself. But I would say that this again, they tried to do the tropes. They sat there and did everything you would see to get emotion without trying to tell a story about it. You have two girls, both of them have families. One is close to her family, one tells her family to go to hell effectively. They are in school due to a misunderstanding. They hate each other. They get into a fight. They're about to get disciplined. All of a sudden, it's likely that both of their parents are dead. And that's how they come together. So but the thing is that it doesn't do that story. It just does the critical points with music in the background. Pop music, by the way, pop music that they've somehow adjusted to make it more slow and more emotional. And so it's me telling that story was actually more of storytelling than the actual 6.5 minute episode. And it's interesting because I think we'll have Jessie Gender on because her thing was that she loved this, that it was so emotional that it impacted her. There's nothing here. I mean, I love Jessie. Don't get me wrong. I think she's a wonderful YouTuber. You guys should subscribe to her. But I so completely disagree. I cannot disagree more with it. With her opinion. As seen in Enterprise in the 26th century, the Federation was using Dauntless ship design as seen in Voyager. Well, that depends on what timeline, I suppose. So, I did tweet that out. I didn't know if you had seen it or not. I know you get inundated. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying it as a bad way. I was just pointing out that you said that on tweet. I wasn't getting mad. I get emotional by watching you, Daddy. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. I also like the fact that you call me Daddy. So, Cinder Kitty, if you're watching. All right. I think there was another scene. Let me see if there's another quick scene. And then we can talk about an interview that Sir Patrick did, and we can go from there. So give me a quick second. Again, guys, I'd love your opinions on this because I don't like the short trek. I don't hate the concept, though. The concept could actually be done very, very well. There it is. Let me see. There was another piece to this, I think. There's the scene we see with Picard. All of Mars is just getting the living hell bombarded out of it. Give me a second here. There are better images of the attack. Oh, this is definitively the 25th century too. So, but here's the thing. Look at this. Devastating Admiral Picard reacts. I'm almost 100% sure right there that is from the comic. They didn't even get Picard in an actual uniform. And I love, one thing I'd love to, how the Federation News Network, FNN, has red alert. Because that's what civilians are going to understand. Red alert. This is just what's frustrating. There's a couple of frustrating things about here. I showed you before. This was Utopia Planitia. This was Mars. And they were working on 23rd century, early 23rd century designs. That would be like Pearl Harbor. When Pearl Harbor was attacked by the Japanese, the ships that they had in Pearl Harbor were from the Civil War. That is... It's stupid. It's lazy, and it's unnecessary. You're telling me that you can't pull some new ship designs from Picard. And if you don't have new ship designs from Picard, why the hell don't you have ship designs from Picard? You could have put the civilian ship in there that Picard uses and made up some BS reason for it to be there. Why do you have a 23rd century, early 23rd century designed vessel? It's as bad as having an Oberth or Constitution in there. It really is. Again, it is lazy. It's as lazy as using a comic image of Picard and not just having Picard in a uniform and putting him up there. Why? And you know what? Yeah, R. McDudd, let me rephrase. So it may make more sense for it to be World War I, not the Civil War. That's fine. Yeah, so they have ships from World War I, not the most up-to-date technology. This short trek felt inauthentic to me in many ways. I would agree. I would completely and utterly agree with that. I think that it is a trailer. That's the only good explanation for it. It's a trailer. And it's I would bet dollars to donuts that this is the same location that they did Starfleet headquarters to. That they where they in California, the convention center that is Starfleet headquarters, that looks so much like that convention center. I could be wrong, but I'd almost bet money. Oh, hey, buddy. Hold on, guys. Sorry. One second, buddy. One second, guys. Hold on. You ain't in trouble. Come here. Sorry. Cool. Sorry, I was in the wrong chair. For the cat to come in. All right. It's mentioned in Deep Space Nine that there is a Federation news service. Sure, I don't care about the FNN. I don't care about the FNN specifically. I care that everything else is not done appropriately. Or it doesn't feel like it's done appropriately. Again, I'm open to the conversation, though. Those could have been old ships built to give away aid to the Romulans. Yeah, they could have been. They could have been that. They could have also actually been, Akira-class ships. It could be that the Federation is using holo technology to hide the real ships that they're making. So they're probably all Prometheus class with the Federation using holographic technology. I mean, if we're going to BS it, we can, just have fun with it. All the Arizona-class battleships bombed at Pearl Harbor were built in 1950. I don't know that I believe that. It is possible. It's possible that was true. But I don't know. I don't know. Even if that was true, let me say this. It's stupid. It's dumb. Synths attack Mars. Yeah, we've been talking about that for a little bit. So anyway, guys, we're going to move on in just a second to a interview that a lot of people are getting upset about. If you're watching this, 86 people watching, only 31 likes. Hit that like button. Don't be scared of it. It's more scared of you. Do you guys have any other things you want to add to this? I think I've really pointed it all out. I don't think there's anything else necessarily intriguing or interesting about this. Let me take a look real quick. Here we go. Yeah, they become besties after this. And there's no after credits like they used to do. Yeah, there's nothing really all that intriguing to it. Here's another question, though, I guess. Where's the defenses for the Federation? I mean, have they gone full Warhammer 40k? Are the defensive, are the starfighters, are the ships that would have to be around Utopia Planitia, are they just not available? Have they been disabled as well? The only way that makes sense is if, again, and I've discussed this a little bit, if the Romulans disabled them too, and there was nothing that things could be done, It's always the hologram's fault. Lore is 25% angry. Yeah. Someone planted a bug in the Sith's minds. Yeah, it was the Romulans. Q corrupted them. Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. Those could have been old ships being... Oh, we already talked about that. I'm disappointed that David Bowie's estate let Kurtzman... yeah, that's what I was saying before, too. That song was just... There shouldn't have been a song. They should have really just more... I don't know. They should have written a real short trek. They've done it before, and they're not half bad at it. I know there's some short treks I don't like, but still, they're not the worst at it. I don't know. Unless the Synths were the ones operating the defensive ships. That is ridiculous. I mean, you may be right. That may be the explanation before it, but that is one of the dumbest things, the stupidest things on. It is so ridiculous that Starfleet would do that. Why would Starfleet not have its people somewhere there? They completely rely on AI. Look at Starfleet's history. You had the M, what is it, the M computer. You had sometimes data would go off the rails. You had Control from Star Trek Discovery. Anytime they put AI or the computer in charge, generally it went badly. Why would they keep doing that over and over and over and over again? Uh, at least, I mean, even in Battlestar Galactica, the remake, not the original, the reboot, uh, 50 to 100 years, well, 50 years have passed, and people are still against it, but they're slowly moving back into it. It's not something that happened over and over and over again, and they were idiots. It's just, it happened once. What's going on here? I just got here. What's up, War Games 2099? We're talking about the latest short trek. There are, in fact, spoilers to that. So if you don't want to have the spoilers, I would suggest not doing it. What was the body count from the Dominion War? Could be like Mass Effect 2, and there's just not enough people to go around. The body count was stupidly low for the war that occurred. It was something like 300,000 Starfleet officers lost or something like that, which sounds like a lot, but and I said it was a lot in the original. But when you break it down, it's not. When you consider how many millions and millions of people, or well, trillions to quadrillions, whatever, that are in the Federation, it is possible that that's the retcon, or that's the explanation, that there may have been more that they didn't talk about, and they more relied on AI. But still, this is well past. This is post Nemesis. So the Federation has already been rebuilding, and they have the advanced tech of Voyager. So I don't know. Starfleet is YouTube. It's AI. It works all the time. Ignore the obvious problems. It took them that long to rebuild the trouble with Tribble's flying saucer ship. Okay. Here's a thought. Perhaps the ship's shutdown command is part of a Section 31 backdoor, and the Romulans have slowly taken over the organization since the various operations of the Dominion War. Well, I do have a theory that while the Federation is saving, because what we know from the comics is every colony has two Tal Shiar agents in them who just blend in. And so, as the Federation has been taking refugees and saving Romulans, it's possible the Tal Shiar has been infesting. So, I actually have a theory about that. So, I think that it's possible that they have been, like, they have a Hydra moment. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people think I'm crazy for that. But I don't think so. I disagree, personally. All right, you guys have anything else when it comes to this specific one, or shall we move on to what's making people mad that was said by one Sir Patrick Stewart? Since it's established even a constitution can decimate a planet in short order, I suppose even taking over a ship for 5 seconds could do some serious damage. It could. That is true. I remember during the Dominion War that Starfleet was losing 1,000 people per day. I'd have to see the quote for that, because again, the numbers they give at the end of the Dominion War, which they specifically state it, is less than what that would mean. I mean, that seems reasonable for an interstellar war. I'm not saying that that's unreasonable necessarily. I'm saying that that is contradictory to dialogue that ends. So move on to the angry nerds, we say. When does Picard premiere? No, 23rd. Yeah, let me do that. Give me a second. We'll move it up here so y'all can see my lovely, wonderful face and my badly lit room. Let me see. Give me a second while I pull it up. My beautiful people, my wondrous, beautiful people. Let's see. I think it was on Twitter. If you guys have it, send it to me at james@lorereloaded.com. But it's down here somewhere. Da, da, da. Basically, he says he literally says he wants it to be anti-Brexit. Though that was, yeah. Here we go. It's on sci-fi.com. When was this done, though? This was done January 8th. There we go. I'm going to share it. I am straight up there with Yosef, though. 82 people watching, 45 likes. Don't be scared to hit that like button. 1,000 people a day is like 5 to 10 ships from Starfleet crew sizes. Yeah, I agree. All right. Legends see Patrick sell his people out. All right, here we go. Hup, here we go. Patrick Stewart, this is from Sci-Fi. They're giving credit to CBS All Access. It is by Josh Weiss. Patrick Stewart explains how Logan inspired him to come back for Star Trek Picard. Logan, probably one of the darkest X-Men movies. From what I actually have never seen it, but I have, from what I understand and the synopsis I've read, Logan seems to be one of the darkest X-Men universes out there. Give us a warning next time. I hate you, R. McDudd. I hate you. They spend $20 million per episode and can't design new ships. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Surf Tectonics. You and me both are right there together. All right, going to start reading. In just a few weeks, Patrick Stewart will finally reprise the iconic role of Jean-Luc Picard in Star Trek Picard on CBS All Access. But the celebrated actor didn't originally want to come back to play a character he portrayed in 7 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation, as well as 4 spin-off movies. I question that. I'll be honest with you. There was a while back there was a article on how Picard wasn't getting any roles and how he wanted to come back and wanted to be in TV again, but he just couldn't find any roles. And then all of a sudden, Star Trek Picard comes on. It is like within weeks of that, they say there are talks about Star Trek Picard and Sir Patrick wanting to return. So I know that's the official line, though. Eventually, Stewart came around to the idea after inhabiting the role of Professor Charles Xavier for the very last time in James Mangold's Logan. Yes, the touching X-Men swan song for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine convinced Sir Patrick that TNG deserved a better send-off than its poorly received final outing in 2002's Nemesis. Hugh and I were so thrilled when the last thing we did for X-Men was Logan, Stewart told Variety for a lengthy profile piece. It was the best X-Men experience we both had, because we were the same character, but their world has been blown apart. Because we were the same characters, but their worlds have been blown apart. He adds, Next Generation didn't end like that. In fact, our last movie, Nemesis, was pretty weak. Set 20 years after the events of Nemesis. Yeah, so it's after Nemesis. So 20 years after a Nemesis, and we still have Magie-class ships. Oh my god. Star Trek Picard... Anyway. Ugh. Set 20 years after the events of Nemesis, Star Trek Picard finds old Jean-Luc retired from Starfleet and living a quiet life on a vineyard with his pet pit bull. Haunted by the loss of Data and the destruction of Romulus, Picard returns to duty, but without the help of Starfleet, which he now views as morally corrupt. Here's the sentence that gets people very, very upset. Are you guys ready? All right, everybody breathe. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It was me responding to the world of Brexit and Trump and feeling, why hasn't the Federation changed? Why hasn't Starfleet changed? Maybe they're not as reliable and trustworthy as we all thought. Added Stewart about the core analogy of the new series. Patrick Stewart is specifically saying that the Federation and Starfleet, in my opinion, are relating to Brexit and Trump. Think about that. And while you're thinking about that, I do not think Stewart has to work and does it for money. I never said it was for money. But he did want to get back into TV. And he couldn't find a job. Davey KO21, I agree. There wasn't a lot to it. So, Here's the thing. Thanks for the stream, Lore, making my workday better. Hey, I'm here for you, Pimpin' Ain't Dead. Pimpin' Ain't Dead. That's going to be your name. That could be a good concept. And that's going to surprise a lot of people, me saying that. Probably going to make a lot of people mad. I don't mind someone who wants to take things that are occurring and perhaps do a story on it and give their side of why it's wrong. So if you think that Brexit and Trump are horrific and the big problems of our age, if you want to write something, that speaks to that, but does it in Trek's way and keeps it open and actually starts a discussion, I don't hate it. Star Trek Discovery tried to do that. Star Trek Discovery basically turned, spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Star Trek Discovery basically turned Lorca. Talk to you later, R. McDudd. Basically turned Lorca into Trump. Turned him into Space Hitler. That's not a bad concept if done right. The problem is they didn't do it right. They created such a bad parody that Trump looks great in comparison. If they had made Lorca a person who took Trump's ideals to an extreme, and then they debated them, and I think maybe you could have done it. So the fact that, hey, Matron, we've actually moved a little bit past that. That was earlier, but they did go 40K. But if you're going to do something that's Brexit, if you're going to do something that's anti-Trump, and you're going to do it in Star Trek Picard, on spec, I'm not against it. However, it needs to be done well. It needs to be done respectfully. It needs to be done in a way that has a conversation, because that's a lot. Now, not always, but when I think of TOS, think of TNG, when I think of DS9, Voyager, they always somewhat had a conversation about it. They didn't generally tell you that you were wrong or that you were bad or that you were horrific. So we have to do something more with it. Anyway, let's continue on. But again, that's what got a lot of people mad, and there wasn't more to it. Season 1 of the Star Trek Picard premieres on CBS All Access Thursday, January 23rd. A second season was already ordered by the subscription, so they're already doing season 2. Yeah. I don't know. Here's the other problem, though. I don't have any faith in it. I don't think it's going to be done that well, and I'll tell you why. The writing crew that he pulled in, the people that he wanted, were the writers from Star Trek Discovery. So I really don't feel like we're moving in a positive direction. If you like Star Trek Discovery's writers, then you may like Picard. But they don't write in the same subtlety, you know? I don't know. If they're going to build a giant wall in space, they may want to consult either Q or the Tholians. They have experience with such things. I would say the Tholians for sure. Lorehead really does look like an Ewok today. Well, thank you. I really go out of my way to make myself look like this for you. So you should definitely keep talking about that. Hey, Sci-Fi Nation, do you ever do live streams? Because one thing that I'd love to do in front of 80 to 100 people is to pull up one of your live streams, and we can see what you look like. We can compare you to fictional things. So I don't mind doing that, buddy. I liked Mirror Universe Lorca. I didn't necessarily care for Mirror Universe Lorca. I liked Prime Universe Lorca pre-Mirror. It was obvious that they did a whiplash turn with him. I think he would have made a great captain. He probably would have been like the second best captain if they hadn't done that. When it comes to Picard, it does sound like that I have faith. I don't have faith. I don't. How's the new short trek? I don't care about what we already talked about it a little bit. It's not good. It's not good at all, and they go Warhammer 40k. I don't know, guys. I wanted your opinions on this. What do you guys think? No, Sci-Fi Nation, you don't look worse than me, buddy. You're a beautiful butterfly. Humans equal politics. If there are humans in space, you're going to have space politics. But we're supposed to be evolved. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We don't even talk about we don't even talk about. Thanks for the support, Rock Solid. We don't even talk about how this is not Gene Roddenberry. This is so far. Gene Roddenberry would be horrified to see Star Trek go Warhammer 40k, and it has, to whatever degree it has. That's definitive now. I don't think he would ever be proud of it. And anyone says who he is proud of it or he would be, is drunk. They have to be. They are drunk. I don't have faith in Picard either. It might be a fun shoot 'em up, but it's not our real Trek. I mean, it's real Star Trek. That gets a lot of people mad. Star Trek is whatever the IP holders call it. That's the way I've always felt about that. You might choose not to like it. You might choose to turn away from it, but it's Trek. If you don't like it, though, don't support it. I think it doesn't resemble Star Trek as much as other series. I would agree with that. I don't think it resembles it either. There's a lot of things here that doesn't make a ton of sense, though, and we kind of discussed. I guess the Dominion War could have pressed them into using AI, but to the extent that we're seeing, to where they just completely are able to obliterate one of the safest places in Starfleet, is a bit much. I don't know. Personally think it's gone Marvel. Burnham was borderline superhero flying all the time. I don't think it's gone Marvel yet. I could see them going Marvel. I felt Lily from First Contact firmly lied to bed the idea that humanity was evolved when Picard had his temper tantrum about not blowing up the ship. Can you expand on that, Broken Eyes? I'm not sure what you mean. I'll keep an open mind for the first couple of episodes like I did with Discovery and most things. If it turns me off in the first few episodes, I'll be sad for the future of Trek. Yep. I honestly think that it's going to be along the politics of Discovery. They're obviously using Discovery assets. They're obviously doing everything they can to make Discovery canon. They're using 23rd century vessels. Likely they were from 22nd century, but I can't prove that. I don't know. Star Trek Online feels a lot more like Star Trek than any of these short treks or Discovery. They are, Star Trek Online is firmly in bed with CBS. They're going full tilt Star Trek Picard. You know that, right? I'm just letting you know. Those who are talking about Roddenberry and how you're glad they didn't follow, I think that's fair. I guess, to some point, DS9 would be something that Roddenberry hated. I have always firmly believed that both Roddenberry and Lucas are fantastic when it comes to thinking up concepts of universes. I think they do that really well. I don't think they tell the stories of those universes well at all. I don't think it's I don't think it's really hard to portray, but I firmly believe that there are people who create wonderful concepts, and Lucas and Roddenberry are like that. But when it comes to telling those stories or what happens in it, they should let other people do it. At least Marvel knows enough not to throw in random pop songs that break the tone of Star Trek. Yeah. Oh my God. Children of Mars is so bad. It is such a bad. It's not even good storytelling. I mean, there are some short treks that I think are wonderful stories. They may not be Trek. They may just have a Trek skin, but they're wonderfully done stories. How and why has ultraliberalism and SGW propaganda permeated Star Trek Discovery and now Picard? Writers, execs, or both? So, a lot of people will say that it's always been that way. I would agree that Star Trek has always had a left bent, a left leaning way of thinking. But generally, when they have looked at these different topics or these episodes, they've done it in a more conversational way, a way that can change people's minds. I think I am an example of how Star Trek was able to change someone's mind through storytelling because they didn't insult me. I do believe that this is an executive, a corporate decision. I don't think that the writers themselves necessarily are trying to push anything. When it comes to Hollywood, the more I go through school, the more I look at movies, the more I research these topics, the more obvious it is that corporations, movies, people who make TV episodes or stream episodes, series, they're responding to what they think the culture wants versus what the culture wants. So the fact that it has a more social, quote unquote, social justice warrior feel or vibe, or that it feels heavily biased, is a response by corporate America, because corporate America thinks that's what people want and that's what they'll get. How true that is, how well people are responding, it's hard to tell because CBS is the one that holds all of the numbers. And I really don't believe either side when it comes to those numbers. I really just don't. Are we sure the Mars attack wasn't a robot uprising that Starfleet is trying to keep under wraps? No, because it was on the Federation News Network. Everyone was seeing it. They couldn't keep it under wraps because literally you saw it on the news. Now they may try to cover it up, but a good parallel is the movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The first half is slapstick intellectual humor. The second half was a sappy love story. I'll let you guess where he died. Huh. If I want real world politics, I'll watch the news. Yeah, see, now some of you say that, but I bet if you give me some of your favorite Trek episodes, there's probably some good political commentary in there. So, we should watch Picard before concluding that Star Social Justice Warrior took it over. There are still useful traits. That, yes and no, Stefan. Where I would disagree with you is that you say, well, we should give it a chance or we should watch it. That can be fair, though you can look at things that have already been presented and still make an educated guess. You can look at the trailers for Picard. You can look at this short trek. You can look at the comics. You can look at what's being said in the real world from executives, from actors, and things like that. For instance, again, it's like, well, we should watch it. Well, if Picard is sitting here and saying, and we know that he had a heavy influence, and he is sitting here and saying, it was me responding to the world of Brexit and Trump and feeling, why hasn't the Federation changed? Why hasn't Starfleet changed? Then it's okay to say, this might not be for me. This might be done very, very poorly, very badly. That's not unreasonable. It's simply not. If you also consider that the exact same writers of Star Trek Discovery who wrote very poorly, social justice issues and just told people they were wrong or bad, effectively, you can make some educated guesses about what you're going to see in Star Trek Picard. Now, you could be wrong. They could have learned their lessons in Star Trek Discovery, went back to the drawing board and said, hey, this could be there's probably a better way of doing this. Let's do that in Star Trek Picard. So I do agree in that you should probably wait to see it before you completely cut it off and say that it's going to be X. But to say, hey, it's likely going to be as bad as Star Trek Discovery, there's a lot of evidence that it is. But like anyone who I hope would be a fan of Trek, I am going to wait and see. I hope, what's going on, Val Mike? I would hope that we could all sit back and really, give it a chance because people learn their lessons. You know what Picard needs? I'm not going to say that. You almost got me, Rock Solid Productions. You almost got me, but I'm not going to say that. Oh, yes, the writers are trying to push far-left social justice warrior. They all took a knee along most of the cast. They started filming Discovery. Yeah, that was indicative. I think that, again, there should be a chance given, though, because they may have learned their lesson. I mean, they may have thought it. It's just we don't know until we watch it. I think the producers are trying to make the show too dark. They didn't learn. You know, I have stated before, and I'll state now, I think that they want Star Trek to be Expanse light. Here's the one thing I'll say about this, too. A lot of people... I do get the reference, Rock Solid. A lot of people sit there... Rock Solid, you made me lose my train of thought, sir. I don't know what I was going to say. Let me go back to reading what you guys were talking about. I read somewhere that the song Blue Skies, which Data sings in Nemesis, may feature in Star Trek Picard. We may see them use the actual song. Well, that would suck. They shouldn't do that. The awkward moment when you see Before the Rest go TJ Hooker. Man, what was I going to say? It was profound, Rock Solid. It was profound, sir. I know it started with a lot of people. I know that. I don't think the writing team that caused a writer to leave because they got offended by a word they used in the story from his past against him was sad. There's a lot more to that story. I don't know which side I'm on, if I'll be honest. And I'm not going to get into it. No, Simulation. And if you say that again, you won't be commenting on my channel. Let's keep it away from there. Laura's now rebooting. Yeah, it was bad. Star Trek Discovery needs more cowbell. They want it to be Expanse Light. That's where I was going with. They want it to be Expanse Light. Here it is. Got it. Back. The reboot worked, people. The reboot worked. They wanted it to be Expanse Light. And here's the thing. A lot of people are saying this sucks and they're tanking and things like that. This is a multi-million dollar or multi-billion dollar, trillion-dollar operation. They're spending millions every episode. They have to be getting somewhere. Corporations aren't really out to push agendas. They're out to make money. So they're... As much as everybody screams and yells to the rooftop, that's horrible, that nobody's watching it, they're not doing it to make friends or to get anyone in office or anything like that. They're trying to make money, and they have to be. I don't know. I hit Alt F4 and that seemed to work. The thing is, DS9 had dark themes. In the end, they still stuck to the Federation values. The spirit of Deep Space Nine, the way it was made, is different than the spirit of Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery. And I think that shows. Star Trek should be one of the great science fiction franchises ever, perhaps second only to Star Wars. It's kind of sad if they're now trying to make it some other shows. I mean, things have to evolve, though. Matthew Starlitz, you bring up an interesting point, though. The reboot worked. Phrase hardly uttered in filmmaking. I agree. That said, there are reboots that have worked. Battlestar Galactica, I think, was a very successful reboot. Yeah, you do know what a blue screen of death for me looks like. I think the new Lost in Space series is more Star Trek than I have not seen that. A lot of people are asking me to. Do you want the show to have opening title sequence with theme music, or do you want just a few seconds of a title card? I honestly haven't thought about it all that much. Star Trek is generally some kind of music intro, so I would suppose to keep it that way, in my opinion. DS9 would have looked like Discovery and Picard if it was made today. No, I disagree. Completely disagree, Davros Metfallen. Well, let me say this. I don't know what you mean by made today. If they made Deep Space Nine in this culture with this audience, then yes. But if you're trying to say that if they had all of the technology they had back then, I think they would have made it the way they did. Shows are highly reflective of the culture because, again, that's what execs do. They take a look at the culture, what they think the culture wants, and then they put it in there. And so, would it be quote-unquote more woke if Deep Space Nine was made today? Sure. But to that point, they would have... if they had made DS9 in the 60s, it would have looked more like TOS than it looked like in that time. I mean, the series are made when the series are made, and they're reflective of the people who are watching them. Stargate Universe didn't have much of an intro. Okay. It's been a long time getting from there to here. I kind of like to think that Deep Space Nine was peak Star Trek. That show may be as good as we ever see. I think for us it could. But a lot of that, let's just be honest, guys, a lot of that is nostalgia. I think that Deep Space Nine is probably the pinnacle of Star Trek for me as well. But it was when I was younger, more formative years, I think. And in about 5-10 years, I think people are going to be a lot easier on Discovery than they were when it came out. You know? Did anyone else glitch out just now? I don't know what you're talking about. Please know the original series DS9 is amazing. Don't lower the quality of making it like TOS. Yeah, but if it was made during the time of the original series, that's what would have happened. I don't know. All right, guys. This one is going to be a shorter one. I'm going to come back and do more, probably in the evening, or I'm going to try at least. I want to do these things. I actually want to do like an 8-hour stream or something like that. But I don't know. It's a lot tougher than it looks. It really is. And I think to do it, I may have to try playing like games and stuff like that. Because there's not... Talking for 8 hours, I don't know. Talking for 4 hours, I don't know how radio hosts do it. It seems freaking amazing to me. But I will say, while you guys are watching this, hey, just so you know, the early parts of the year are always toughest for YouTubers. So, you know, whether it's me or someone else, you should consider helping out because advertising just goes through the ground. Which, by the way, just so you know, if you want to help out the channel, you can always go to patreon.com/lore reloaded, or you can become a member by hitting that membership button. But yeah, no, that was... I say that not just for me, but for other people. If there's a YouTuber you really like and they rely on advertisements, definitely help them out in the early years because it's just the numbers plummet. If you're going to play a game, why not Starfleet Command? Yeah, it'll have to be. If it's on here, it'll be Starfleet Command or Star Trek Online. Yeah, people will be easier on it later because the power of math. That's right, Kevin Clark. If any Star Trek was made today, it would be like what we are getting now for one simple reason. We no longer have hope for the future, and that is one of the many things Star Trek used to be about. Don't know that I agree. I think that you could make Star Trek and make it in a way that people like. Look at Axanar. Forget everybody who made Axanar. Forget all the drama and luggage of Axanar. But think Axanar. What we see on Axanar. I think that's a good way of doing it. There's a lot of fan films. But when it comes to corporate America, maybe. Lore, load up the Star Trek Armada campaign. Oh, that'd be fun to play. Yeah. Agreed. Hence why I threw a few shekels in your Patreon. Seeing numbers drop after December is like getting kicked. It is, man. It's horrible. There's always hope for the future. I would agree. What's up, JJMFDL? By the way, rock solid. Let's take care of an issue here. That's not because of the Patreon. That's because of your constantly come. By the way, me giving moderator status, I'm the worst when it comes to that. Generally, regulars get moderatorship at some point. So, I mean, if you've been here, everyone, I haven't given it to you yet. It'll probably ultimately be coming. Though, if you abuse it, you'll get removed. I won't remove your moderatorship. I'll just remove you. So. I'll be doing some Orville, Robotech, and I got a Garrick one coming very shortly. let me say this too. I feel bad when I put this stuff out there, but I put it out there because it is necessary. But if you guys don't give if you don't have it or anything like that, definitively don't. The best way to support if you don't want to financially or can't financially is just watch the shows. It's just that simple. You want a game? Warhammer 40k Final Liberation. I haven't played that one. Do you plan to ever do Doctor Who lore? I have done Doctor Who lore. I may start it again, but that's going to be something. I'll be honest. If you're going to if you want Doctor Who lore, funding it at lorereloaded.com is the best way. I do have some stuff I'm going to eventually get to, but honestly, people don't like, on my channel, people don't like what I put up there unless there is a mainstay of ships flying around. Spaceships have to be flying around and fighting each other. Just want to say I've been really enjoying your STO videos, even if they're not fully accurate to the game and or lore. What do you... Please. Okay, see, that comes back. Well, I'm glad you enjoy them. I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to accurate to the lore. I'd challenge you on that. And fully accurate to the game... You know, here's an interesting thing, and this is a segue, I know. But when it comes to the lore with the ships, I just try to have fun with it because it's a game. But if you try to treat a game like it's lore, especially a game like Star Trek Online, that is ridiculous to do. So I just have fun with it. But I do attempt to research the ship I'm looking at and the stuff I go into it. So when people say, well, this doesn't make sense with the lore, this doesn't make sense with the game, I'm pulling it from the game. So how does it not make sense? And I'm not trying to argue with you, Tishi. I'm just saying, sometimes I don't understand that. Now, if you're going to come back and say, well, when I say that, what I really mean is that, you're calling the starfighters pets. Or there are special abilities that you use on the starfighters that help protect them more. That's fair. But... there's only so much you can have with it, and the fact that they're called pets, I'm not gonna... I mean, you guys know me. If I'm gonna do lore, I'm not gonna let that joke go. There's no way. I can't. Rise of Skywalker sucked. It wasn't their best, I'll agree. Well, that's the thing about Star Trek Online. You have to have it one way or the other, game or lore. I think your take of having fun is one of the best ways. Yeah, I wasn't getting mad, COMC. It's just something that comes up that's an interesting conversation, because a lot of people... will go one way or the other. An interesting piece to that, not that you guys care, that I didn't realize, but I'm still going to do it, but I didn't realize, people who look up this stuff are more looking at it for like mechanics and stuff like that. And so they'll come to my stuff and get so upset because it's basically me just having fun. The Typhon carrier found... And so I feel kind of bad about that. And I don't know how to better do it. I'm going to try to find a way, but that is something. By the way, thank you so much, Broken Eyes, for the Typhon carrier class found in Star Trek Invasion. Set phasers to frag. That'll be out in the probably next week at the latest, for sure. But thank you so much for the support, guys, as I've been staying. I will put it towards that. That will make it fully funded. If the Typhon isn't already fully funded, I don't think it is, but it definitely is now. And it'll be coming out next week at the latest. The only reason people will be easier on Discovery later is because we'll have horse stuff. That's fair. I will agree that Rise of Skywalker was better than The Last Jedi. That's just science. The whole way you take the heck out of the gamified mechanics and setting is what really makes the series so... Yeah, that's the other thing I'll say about that. If you're watching my Star Trek Online Starship breakdowns, you gotta know I'm doing it just to have fun. And what a response to that, a lot of people have been asking me to do ship breakdowns. And so, of Star Trek Online. And so I was trying to find a way to do it, and that's the best way that I found to do it. Any updates on the Real Ghostbusters? We're doing it by the episode, JJMFDL. And I believe, if you go to lorereload.com, it should be up on there. I believe we have the first episode and second episode, maybe? At least the first episode for sure funded. Vile was a wrench. There goes the chat. No, Vile will be very, Vile will handle it with care because he knows what happens if he doesn't. Lore triggered Vile again, but is forgiven this time. Well, here it is. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back maybe later this morning or in the afternoon at the latest. And I'm going to see you on the next Lore Reloaded.